Hey guys, this is Jacob. In Denmark, New Sounds and Old, pardon me, is the channel. Um, Vinyl Grabs video for you today. Um, I, there are so many records that I haven't shown you. I want to split them into. I don't want to do videos that are too long because I mean, yeah, I don't want to bore you more than I already do. So I want to put these into like small bundles, and I have 9 albums for you today, and these are all albums that I picked up at a fair about a couple of months ago or so. Um, a fair in a city that is about an hour's drive from where I live, in the town called Nistville, here in Denmark. And whenever this fair is going on, this is like a yearly event. I if possible, always go. And this time around, there were some new sellers there, who actually all were, attending a fair the day after in Copenhagen, like a huge fair. But then these guys, traveled like a day before, and had the chance and opportunity to also participate in this fair that I went to. And so I was able to meet some sellers that I normally don't meet at this fair, and picked up some I think really good stuff. First of all, a friend of mine was actually selling some of his albums as well. I picked up two records with him. First of all, The Fall. This album is a compilation called A-Sides. Um, and this compilation covers, I believe, songs from the mid to late 80s and maybe just the early 90s, and then all of the singles that the band The Fall released in that period of time. The Fall, obviously, or well, of course, the brainchild of one late but great Mark E. Smith, which is the guy on the cover here. Not the easiest band leader to work with, not the easiest band to be a part of. I think The Fall are still maybe the band with the highest number of members leaving the band or being fired by the band leader. And yeah, there's a whole book on that where an author goes and talks to, I think, around 30 people who have been part of The Fall and then have been fired, or have left the band because of differences, if you will. Anyways, this is a good compilation. This is not maybe the best period of The Fall, in my opinion. I would maybe rather be into some of the early 80s stuff, and then later in the 90s, and the 2000s as well. They've released some really great albums. But this is a good compilation. Features, for example, Hit North, which was actually, I think, the first Fall song that I ever heard on MTV's 120 Minutes, back when MTV actually showed music on the television. Um, this is a reissue of this compilation. I think this was originally released. I don't know when this was originally released. I think maybe back in the 90s. This is a reissue from a couple of years ago, which is on a white vinyl. Yeah, happy to add that to the Fall collection. Um, I will never be a Fall completist because there are, I think, I don't know, 30 or 40 studio albums, and then a bunch of live albums. If you go to their Discogs, yeah, you'll see why being a Fall completist is difficult. I also picked up from my friend John, who sold some albums there. Picked up this record here. This is from a Danish band called Ganga. The album is called Tro. No, the album is called Mørk, which means dark. The second album they did was called Tro. And this is sort of like left field avant-garde pop, if you will. Has some very poppy elements, but then there are songs that just go in a completely different direction. Very interesting band. Lyrics are at times very, very weird and very, very funny. The one song called Olympisk, which means Olympic, is basically a song on how the when he was a child, the singer in the band, his stepdad stole a TV from two guys that he didn't like. That's what the song is about. Uh, Great stuff. Now, from the next seller that I bought from this fair, is actually a German seller who traveled to Denmark this weekend to participate in these two fairs. And normally, I'm not a big fan of this guy being there because he sells a lot of bootlegs, and he sells a lot of bootlegs to people who don't know that what they're buying are actually bootlegs. And personally, I would of course always prefer to buy, you know, regular, not bootleg albums, you know, to support the artists and so on. But yeah, he there's it's a big thing in Germany selling bootlegs, and sadly he brings some of the bootlegs to all of the Danish fairs that he visits. But anyways, I found three albums in at his stand that weren't bootlegs. Two Brazilian ones. First of all, this is from Ayrton Moreira, and the album's called Promises of the Sun. This is 1976, so the year that I was born, actually. Features vocals from Flora Punim, who also, I think, uh, co-produced at least one song, if not the entire album, with Ayeto. So this goes in every direction you can imagine a record from Brazil going in. This is jazz. This is bossa nova. This is samba. This is yeah. This goes in a lot of directions. It's a decent album that I got at a fair price, and I'm happy to add this to my collection. Same goes for this one from Gilberto Gil, which has the title O Eterno Deus Mudança. So something about Deus, I think it's God, and danza must be something about dancing. I'm not sure. Anyway, that is Gilberto Gil on the cover, dancing. This is a mid to late 80s album. I think this was 1988, I believe. Production-wise, it's a bit off, but there are some good songs on here. If you can live with this at times cheesy 80s production, fairly good songs, and I'm a big fan of Gilberto Gil, so happy to get that as well. Last one that I got from this German guy is this album from Terje Rypdal called Waves, out on ECM, an original copy from 1978. And this was sort of a blind buy. Terje Rypdal's name has had come up in on various occasions for me, and I was interested in delving into his work. I think he's from Norway. I think that he was in I think a couple of psychedelic rock bands in the maybe even as far back as the late '60s, early '70s. This is more a jazzy direction. It also features a trumpet playing from a Danish guy called Palle Mikkelborg, whose name you may have come across in on other records and so. This was a decent album. I got it at a fair price, and it's original and it plays really good. So I'm happy to get that as well. And then finally, there was a seller there who I'd never seen before, who I'd never obviously bought from before, and he had so many good albums. Um, and a lot of these really, really rare Danish records that you don't sort of like almost never see. Um, really expensive, but at fairly priced and so on, and just way out of my price range, unfortunately. But I managed to pick up um, four albums with this guy still. I got, first of all, this one from Ecstasy. This is Drums and Wires, their 1979 album. This is an original UK pressing of this album. This is the one, obviously, with the hit, if you will, Making Plans for Nigel. It's a great record. Ecstasy in the late '70s and early '80s. It's a band that I've not discovered until like the past 2 or 3 years, and I've gotten really into. I don't think that my mind was ready for Ecstasy, the band, back when they were still around. And obviously, with me being born in 1976, this album from '79, 3 years old, I would not have come across this. This is not something that my parents would listen to. But it's very, very good album. Happy to get that. And I also got from Ecstasy the 1986 album Skylarking. This is an original European pressing, um, produced by Todd Rundgren, by the way. This also features some good songs, but I think that the band was yeah, at least one guy was out of the band at this period here, or this time. And I don't know. This just it doesn't seem as the band were in a good state when they recorded this. Production wise, once again, it maybe falls a bit flat because of the time period that this album was released, or was recorded rather, in the mid '80s. It's a decent album. Not my favorite by far from Ecstasy, but happy to add this to the collection as well. And that same goes for this one. This is one that I've been looking for a for quite some time. This is Tom Waits and his album Frank's Wild Years from 1986, I believe. Um, this is just a killer album. I love Tom Waits. I mean, you have Straight to the Top, you have Innocent When You Dream, you have Way Down the Hole, you have Cold Cold Ground. Ah, man, if you love Tom Waits, you know that this is the shit. Um, Once again, a European. No, this is a Scandinavian pressing, I believe. This is a Scandinavian release, um, from this great Tom Waits album. Yeah, you know what's up if you like that one. And then finally, the pièce de la résistance of the records that I got, an original 1994 European pressing of Pearl Jam's Vitalogy. One of my favorite Pearl Jam albums. This was their third album, and after breaking through and really making it big in the in the business, I think that they kind of wanted to do a more free, more yeah, like a more free experimental record. So this features some songs and sound bites that are maybe for some years a bit off, but there's some stellar songwriting here. Both Nothing Man, Better Man, Spin the Black Circle, Not For You, Whipping, Corduroy. Yeah, this is just all killer, no filler, in my opinion, and very, very good album. That's what I got at the fair a couple of months ago. Like I said, I'm going to one tomorrow. Did I say that? I don't know if I said that. If I didn't, I'm saying it now. I'm going to a fair tomorrow. Um, at the concert hall that I'm also affiliated to when I do the music quiz and so on. And the budget is small, so we'll see what I pick up there. The sellers at this fair, there's new arrangers, because normally it's like this group of guys who arrange the fair, but they have kind of called it quits. So Stars, the concert venue, is actually throwing it themselves. Obviously, they got all the contacts from the normal people who show up there, so it's probably gonna be some of those guys there, and yeah, they don't always have too many exciting stuff or too many exciting records, but we'll see what they have. If I know myself, I'm gonna end up buying some stuff anyways. That's it for this short video, 16 minutes. Wow, cool. Um, till next time, take care and stay safe.